Basketball fans, welcome into the Hangout, coming to you from the University of Manitoba in Winnipeg. It's beautiful out here. I'm Akil Augustine, and I got to send a huge shout out to Kirby Shep, the head coach of the team, for allowing us to come out here into your home and take over. Thank you so much.
Great you're here.
All right, we also send a shout out to the member of the Hangout family, Coach Kissy of the Brock Badgers. Shouts out to you and your team out here.
Thank you for having me.
And Dan Becker. We're going to call you the legend Dan Becker because of the fact, first off, you are one of the more notable players out of this beautiful place known as Manitoba, but also you have an interesting story. You were offered a scholarship after your dad took you to, where was this? This was in?
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. And you got your scholarship from just a shoot-around.
Yeah, as my family's originally from Philadelphia, and my dad was up here teaching.
Don't tell the Manitobans that, eh?
Yeah, no. And my grade 12 year, he said he's going back to visit family. I asked if I wanted to come. And I said, there's a big tournament at home. As long as I have a gym to shoot around in, I'll come. So we went down to Philadelphia. The hotel, the gym nearest the hotel was St. Joe's. Sure enough, shooting around, he sends out some players. He asks what university I'm going to, and he said none. He said, he said, more players out, more players. Took a look, and then by the time we left, he offered me a scholarship.
I need to relive that story, Coach. If I go over there and start shooting around, if I make like 5 in a row, will you give me a scholarship?
We'd have about a $5 scholarship for you, maybe 10.
Well, it's more than I got the first time around. Anyways, let's jump into it, of course. On the Hangout, we are Canada's home for talking hoops, so we got to talk about Canada's team, and that is the Toronto Raptors. They did have some issues to address, and Masai Ujiri earmarked one gentleman as a guy he wanted to add to this team. That young man, DeMarre Carroll, who had a breakout season with the Atlanta Hawks, as part of the heart of that team as they spread the ball around a lot under Mike Budenholzer. First off, I will start with you, Kirby. Coach, were you surprised that this is the guy the Toronto Raptors sought after in free agency? Not a name you're familiar with, though.
I mean, as a fan, it's disappointing. I guess you expect a big name. You always want to win the offseason, but he can defend, he can play combo forward, he can stretch the floor, he can guard things. And let's face it, you've got LeBron James in your conference.
Yes.
If you don't have someone who you think can at least compete with him defensively, you're done.
Coach, no, I don't mean to cut you off, but Coach Kissy, you're after insider, so what's your take on this one?
Yeah, I like it. I like the move. I think, as a fan, I think the fans will get to know Carroll well. I think he'll defend really well. I think they need it. Without it, they go to the playoffs, but they don't have a chance.
Now, one of the things that jumped out at us about that move, Dan, was, of course, the numbers behind the number. $13 million, of course. But a lot of people weren't factoring in the new CBA. Yeah. But, I mean, are you happy with DeMarre Carroll as the big piece added to the Toronto Raptors?
I'm not paying the bill, so it's fine by me. But if you're in the locker room, it may seem a little odd. But like you said, the insiders know the money's coming later. But I looked it up. Yeah, he was the highest paid guy this year. So without that name power, it's interesting. But I agree. I think that
is he enough to change the defensive
I think
mindset?
It looks to me like they're adding chemistry. They're adding team players. They're adding pieces to win. And the 3 or 4 players they added are those type of guys.
Okay,
so the end result, to me, looks like it might be okay.
Okay, hopefully so for all Raptors fans. But let's talk about something here. The price point impacts other players, right? Now, he is the most highest paid player on this team. You also have some guys who have been all-stars on this team in Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan. Kyle Lowry got his deal, of course, and he's not the traditional type of leader that you have on the team. DeMar DeRozan is looking for an upgrade in his salary, and he's not at all the traditional type of player, of leader that you see in this league. So do you think at any point, Charles, this could kind of lend itself to some locker room controversy, some internal struggle?
I say if they want to win, it won't, but
they're humans too, man.
They're human, and there's a lot of money, and guys want to get paid. I think at the end of the day, they got to want to win. There's going to be a lot of money coming into the NBA in the next year or so, and I think championships should become more valuable. The money's floating around, but people got to want to win a little more than get paid. Having said that, you got to get paid.
In this climate, it seems the league is really focusing on the dollars, though.
Locker rooms are locker rooms, right? And boys are boys. So there's going to be a pecking order established at some point.
But DeMar has shown himself to be a pretty high character guy. It's a matter of whether or not he can listen or not listen to the noise from the outside in his camp, trying to say, you're a max guy, you got to have a max guy role, and that kind of thing.
Sorry, go ahead. My question at the end of the day is, I wonder if some of these guys, they move to different cities and they get paid, but they never win. I wonder if that's enough for them. They play their whole lives trying to win and get to that point. They get to that point, and then I mean, how much money do you need at some point, right?
Well,
They're
I'd like
making
a lot
of money.
personally. I don't know about you.
Yeah,
but
They make it first and then they
I don't
move.
know.
yeah,
That's what
exactly.
happens.
I can win a championship in like my 18th or 19th season as long as I'm paid.
After my max contract's done, then I'll go
On your
find
third
it.
contract, you start swimming around. For
Okay,
that
but
stuff.
now another thing that kind of, we talked about the leadership and the fact that they have some very different personalities in this group. Do you see anyone like kind of going beyond who they currently are? I mean, Kyle's matured a lot. DeMar still has that step to make, and DeMar isn't known as a very vocal leader. Do you see any of these guys trying to clearly put themselves ahead of the rest in leadership terms?
I think Corey Joe feels really comfortable at home, coming from a championship
That's a
team.
great point. Corey Joe, another leader coming from the Spurs. I like that point. Quickly now, sticking with DeMar, one of the things that was mentioned when he was first brought to this group, potential of playing the power forward. Amir Johnson no longer a Toronto Raptor. They also still have Patrick Patterson, who is expected to make that jump. They go get Louis Scola. Who do you think should be the starting four for this Toronto Raptors squad, Dan Becker?
I'd let that play out as it goes.
But you got to make a call eventually.
Yeah, you gotta
Committee.
make-
You know what? That's a tough one because Luis.
Who most
Scola-
addresses the
It's got to be Patterson to
Scola?
start.
It's got to be
to start.
Scola,
I
Patterson.
like Scola because I think, you know, he's not the greatest defensively. I know that's going to be a little tough, but you have, you know, where I think people are really tough is at the three. Like the bronze spot is a really probably one of the tougher spots to defend. So let Scola bring some experience. He's got, you know, like international experience.
But if you look
Yeah.
at if you looked at the playoffs last year, and at the end of the game, at the fourth quarter, there were so few teams playing traditional fours.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody had small
LeBron
fours.
was
Everyone had
four,
LeBron
those type
at
of
four. Everyone
athletes.
had, you know, small guys at four, and that's where Carroll's going to come.
So does it matter who starts? Maybe it's a matter of who finishes at the
Yeah,
four.
but moving LeBron to the four doesn't mean that you can't, that Carroll can't defend him at the four,
Yeah.
and Patterson can now play. You know, it
Five.
doesn't really matter who's defending him at
That's
what
small.
position. It's just, I mean, you're all small and you defend that way.
So you're still sticking with Scola.
I think I like Scola.
I would
If
start
LeBron's
with the guy
on,
who
those
was
put
there
Patterson
already,
in or put.
and then let Scola
Damari
earn
Carroll.
minutes or find this Carroll.
Wow, we have
Starting
three different
Carroll.
answers,
Yes.
quality stuff.
One of us will be right.
All right, that's how we want to start the show with a little bit of controversy. I myself, since you know, I'm riding with Kissy. I want to see a little Scola. There's not a lot of time left for him. I want to see him play out a bit. Listen, still more to come here on the Hangout. We have to talk about the hottest topic in basketball and pop culture on TMZ. We got to talk about Matt Barnes versus Derek Fisher. Let the games begin.